the day, so come on, let's go. Come on, let's go. Vamonos. Say hello, we got time, we can find our flow. Break the rules, I won't let you go solo. Say hello to your life, so come on, let's go. Come on, let's go. Vamonos. Let's go. Vamonos.
Rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, so and so true. It does not matter who the host is. What matters is who is sitting on that other side of this whole equation of things. That is for sure. Anyways, how have you been? It's been about, let's see, depending on where you hung out, about 24 hours or so since we last did our thing together. Anyways, we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM. And then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place that we do stuff at.
Radio.
Oh, yes, hanging out with our friends at Radio Big.FM, where we do all kinds of interesting things on that side of the equation. That is for sure. So how have you been? How was the last 24? Did you go through your whole holiday budget by, participating in Cyber Monday? It's okay if it did happen. We can talk about it. There is some things that we can discuss if that is the case. Those things do happen. I get it. I understand it. And probably not the best thing to be talking about, but hey, it does happen few and far between as we are talking. That is for sure. So anyways, a lot of stuff going on this lovely Tuesday that we're going to need to talk about. A lot of things that have happened. A lot of things that probably not the greatest, but the things that do occur as we are talking and hanging out. Anyways, if you're not familiar with the show, let me kind of give you a layout of the land here. We bring in some professional broadcasters that talk about some of the things that are going on inside of the world. Then I come back and talk to you about some of those things that those broadcasters said. We cover some safety aspects. We cover some other things. And then we kind of call it a day and then move on to hour 2 of the Jay Allen of the Morning Show. But that's on the other side of the equation. So depending on how you want to do that. So there's all kinds of interesting stuff that we can do around here. That is for sure. Anyways, with that being said, let's start talking right away about some of the things that were trending, because I think that that's going to be important. So let's do that now.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so looking at the worlds of the trends of the ends of the ends, well, I guess the big hashtag that was occurring yesterday was Cyber Monday. Was trending yesterday as Twitter users shared the best deals in shopping on the web, so that was important. Hashtag Giving Tuesday was trending on Monday ahead of today. Yes, National Day of Giving. Twitter users shared brands and businesses that they were promoting promoting to give back. So there you go. I wonder how a business actually does that, though. How do you promote to give back? Or do you just give back and then just say that you did it? I mean, there's a lot of stuff there. Diet Coke landed in Twitter's top 10s, but not for any one reason you think. We can talk a little bit more about that here in just a tidbit. And then Twitter users reacted to Balenciaga's apology over an ad they shared and removed featuring kids holding teddy bears that appeared to be wearing bondage attire. Several users also called out Kim Kardashian, who promotes the brand, for for the late response to the ad. So we can talk some more about that if you care. But You know how it goes. All kinds of stuff circulating the event of things as we move forward, because that is for sure so. As we are doing the stuff around here. Anyways, with that being said, I think that you're coming out here for us to hang out and do all kinds of fun stuff. So don't worry about that. Fun stuff and you and I will be the things that we do today. There is no doubt about it. So I think what we can do, because I'm trying to think through this, on how do we do this? Do we go ahead and bring in the pro broadcasters now and let them tell you about what the hell's going on? Because I think it might be time to do some of that aspect that we call the news. So let's go ahead and do it now.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Brian Shook. Schools in Houston, Texas are staying closed on Tuesday amid the city's ongoing boil water notice. The district made the announcement after Houston officials issued the notice on Sunday. Water pressure dropped below minimum standards after a power outage at a main water plant. The White House says President Biden will keep fighting to ban assault weapons following recent mass shootings.
There were families this past Thanksgiving holiday who looked around their table and there were missing members of their family because of this gun violence.
During a briefing, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said the president believes it's important to keep the gun issue on the minds of Americans. Biden recently said he was going to try to get rid of assault weapons during the lame duck session, despite an uphill battle to secure 10 Republican votes in the Senate. Harvey Weinstein is not taking the stand at his sex crimes trial in Los Angeles, where he's charged with 7 counts of rape and sexual assault. His lawyers presented his case Monday, telling the judge Weinstein would not take the stand in his own defense. The world's largest active volcano is erupting. Phil Hewlett reports.
Mauna Loa on the Big Island of Hawaii started erupting late last night. Volcano experts with the U.S. Geological Survey say lava is still erupting from the summit and is overflowing from the caldera. There's no threat to communities at this time. The eruption follows several weeks of increased seismic activity at or near the volcano. This is the first time Mauna Loa has erupted in 38 years. I'm Phil Hewlett.
No one is in custody after the grave of legendary mobster Al Capone was defaced outside of Chicago. Police say someone spray-painted the word evil in red on the tombstone on November 23rd. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. Tensions are high in China amid police efforts to prevent further protests against the country's COVID controls. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak warned the golden era of relations between the UK and China is over. Japan's Prime Minister's ordering a long-anticipated boost in the country's defence spending, and Hawaii's Mauna Loa, the world's largest active volcano, has erupted for the first time in nearly 4 decades.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Well, health experts are renaming monkeypox Mpox over concerns the original name could be viewed as racist and stigmatizing. Michael Kastner reports.
The World Health Organization announced it will begin using Mpox following a series of consultations with experts. Both names will be used simultaneously for a year while monkeypox is phased out. Monkeypox cases are often found in Central and Western African countries, but an outbreak hit Europe and the U.S. in May. The WHO declared monkeypox a global emergency in July after the disease was found in more than 70 countries. I'm Michael Kastner.
The United States is hoping to advance to the round of 16 at the World Cup today in Qatar. After ending each of its first 2 games in a draw, the U.S. needs to beat Iran in order to get out of the group stage. The U.S. is third in Group B with 2 points after playing Wales to a 2-1 draw and England to a scoreless draw. Timothy Weah leads the team with 1 goal. Iran is coming off a 2-0 win over Wales and has 3 points. The U.S. is threatening legal action against Mexico's plan to ban imports of genetically modified corn. Trey Thomas has the details.
Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack said Monday that the ban on GMO corn, scheduled to hit in 2024, would cause huge economic losses and significantly impact trade between the two countries. In a statement following a meeting with Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador, Vilsack said, "We must find a way forward soon." A Mexican agriculture official said last month the planned ban would cut Mexico's import of yellow corn from the U.S. in half. I'm Trey Thomas.
And the holiday season could be a whole lot merrier for anyone who wins Tuesday night's Mega Millions jackpot. There's $305 million on the line. The cash option on that comes out to just over $158 million. The numbers will be drawn at 11 p.m. Eastern. Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobilemobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hey, Dad. Your prescription will be ready in just a minute.
Hello.
Hey, Dad. Your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey. Why don't you take a minute? When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance, care for your own physical and mental well-being, and manage the challenges of caring for a loved one. Because the better care you take of yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you. You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, class. Let's hear what everyone did this weekend. Jill?
Well, I raised my older sister to a big oak tree. It was at least 100 years old. My mom said I must have set a record or something. And then we went down by a stream and perched up on this huge rock and saw all these little minnows swimming around way below us. And then I rescued my little brother from an evil slug king who was guarding him at the bush fortress. And my sister and I brought him back to our super twig fort for safety. And then we all laid out and told stories until it got dark. And the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Awesome. Where were you, Jill?
Yeah. We went to the forest. It's not that far away. Anyone want to come this weekend?
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week and find the fun, adventurous you. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Well, you might be like me and heard all these terms and were not 100% sure on what they meant. Things as mining, blockchain, the Internet of Things. Well, I will tell you, we here at Safety FM have partnered up with a company that will explain this to you and will also have conversations to inform you on how you might have the potential of making passive income by being involved with this. All you need to do is go to safetyfm.com/iHub. They'll discuss blockchain. What exactly is mining? What is cryptocurrency? And what is the Internet of Things? To find out more information, go to safetyfm.com safetyfm.com/iHub. That's safetyfm.com/iHub. And don't forget to mention that Jay Allen sent you.
In order to save the planet from cow farts, why doesn't someone just invent really large Gas X pills?
God, what's that awful stench? Radio.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so there you go. 15 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this loveliest of Tuesdays. Oh, yes, that's the way that it seems to do. To be, to going on, and all that kind of fun stuff that we would talk about at this early hour of the morning. And I say early hour because it's extremely early where I'm located. And if you're on the Eastern Seaboard, I would imagine that it is early where you're located as well. If not, it would be later, and then all that kind of fun stuff that we could try to get into translation on how we would talk about it. But I don't think that that's important for what we are doing. Anyway, so let's get into the shit list, because that is what we do around here. We talk about the shit that is going on a list that I get in front of me. And so we kind of go from there. So we make it the shit list. That is kind of that plain and simple in regards of doing it. So taking it from the top, Elon Musk has fired back to the public shots across Apple. As later, he apparently threatened to take Twitter off of the App Store because of its free speech policy. It stated that Musk has noting that in his tweets that Apple has mostly stopped advertising on Twitter. Do they hate free speech in America? I mean, this is what, of course, the editor is putting, or the actual person that wrote this up says. He then posted, yes or no, Apple should publish all censorship actions that is taking effect to its customers. In a subsequent tweet, Musk added some context. Apple has also threatened to withhold Twitter from the App Store, but won't tell us why. So there you go. Worth noting, one major source of revenue for the Apple App Store, where developers paid 30% cut to Apple for the transactions made within their apps. For companies dependent on the App Store exposure, Apple holds a tremendous power by threatening apps by delisting them if they don't comply with the company's agenda. And the same agenda is loudly supported by supposedly the current administration, just in case. Isn't there? So there should be some other things that people should give some consideration to when they're looking into doing some of these app things, is what is really being said. Also, worth noting, Musk tweeted on Friday that if Twitter were to get booted from Apple or Google App Store, that he'd manufacture his own smartphone, which we already did discuss. And then Musk tweeted the Monday afternoon that Twitter files on a free speech suppression soon to be published on Twitter itself. The public deserves to know what really happened. So we'll see what the hell that is. The Twitter files. Meanwhile, at Snapchat, remember when Musk left Twitter? Employees like literally shaking right now. Well, because he demanded that they work in the office. Well, the CEO at Snap, the company behind Snapchat, is now expecting employees to be in office at least 4 days a week. So here's the thing, and I don't know. I mean, it's really dependent on how you do stuff. There are some people that believe that your employees, your team members, will not work as hard if they're working from home as opposed to working from the office. That's a matter of opinion because, of course, hey, you can walk around and go, okay, we need an instant meeting. We need to do this right away. And you can change some things where if your people are actually at home, it takes a little bit longer probably to actually be able to pull that same thing off. So that's going to be an interesting aspect on how we take a look at that going forward. Anyways, take a listen to this. Bloomberg reports that Apple has disabled the AirDrop functionality on devices in China. This feature allows iPhones to share information directly, making it impossible for the CCP to snoop on the communication and activity for the freedom protest. So there you go. There you go. And then Apple has, let's see. So there you go. So then Apple has done that, but there is not really a reason why they have actually decided to deactivate the feature. So I am not sure what is going on. And maybe somebody can share some news on what exactly is going on there.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's continue talking about some other things. We talk about it all the time, so take a listen to this. Another domino has fallen in the FTX crypto company BlockFi has filed for its own bankruptcy case after FTX failed to make good on a $680 million loan to FTX owed earlier this month, according to a court filing. BlockFi also blames the general downturn in crypto value in the recent months. It made the name of itself for lending money that used crypto assets as collateral. So wait for a moment. If the crypto assets become worthless, those loans get awfully risky. That's what happened when BlockFi loaned cash to FTX that has been backed by FTX-owned cryptocurrency, which is now worth zilch. So think about that. And then worth noting, analysts say that the FTX was a disaster in terms of record keeping. So BlockFi does appear to have a case in order. Meanwhile, FTX owns bankruptcy filing shows that one of the top creditors for sister company Alameda Research is Margaritaville Beach Resorts in the Bahamas, where they owe $55,319. That's one hell of a unpaid bar tab. I mean, that's just something to think about. I mean, how do you get a tab that high? Like, seriously? Or did you have like an event or something and said, we'll retro pay you? You know, we'll pay you on the back end. I mean, I'm just saying, some interesting times definitely going on around there on that side of the equation.
Who truly cares what this guy has to say? Who gives a shit? Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, take a listen to this because, number one, I am just mesmerized sometimes by some of the things that can get across and happen in that along those lines. But take a listen to this. A Florida woman is leading a class action lawsuit against Kraft Heinz, accusing them of misleading instructions on their Velveeta shell and cheese offering. A box of stuff that promises in just 3.5 minutes, if you boil the noodles in the microwave, they'll be ready. This suit alleges that it's bogus, that the time doesn't allow for the unpacking of the noodles and the cheese goop, opening the cheese goop, and mixing the cheese goop in boiled noodles, which itself takes about 3.5 minutes. The suit seeks $5 million in damages. A spokesperson for the company says that the suit is frivolous. I mean, seriously? Like, I've never seen or heard of anything like this. So, all of a sudden, you're suing us because you think that, it's misleading, that it's longer than 3.5 minutes because we didn't give you time for package opening. It's really one of those weird things to talk about when you really give it the world of worlds around there. That is for sure. Anyways, a daring rescue in Maryland on Monday had all the trappings of an action thriller movie. Earlier yesterday morning, a couple was flying to Mooney M2OJ single-engine plane that crashed in an electric line tower. The two passengers survived the impact, but the plane teetered precariously high off the ground. First responders were able to get the passengers off before the crane lifted the plane off the ground. The passengers are being treated for serious but non-life-threatening injuries. The FAA officials say that the pilot was relying on the plane's instruments and didn't see the power lines in the fog. Yeah, that would definitely make some things go round and around and around and around for you. That is for sure as we are talking. There is no doubt about that. Anyways, take a listen to this. A study by the consulting firm Gartner reveals that a third of employees feel that they're fairly compensated. But wait, whether an employee thinks that their comp is fair has less to do with the actual dollar amount and more to do with how the employee perceives the company. Think like culture, inclusivity, and the work-life balance that outsize the influence of that perception. So what do you think? I mean, let's be realistic. There are people that are out there that have jobs that don't pay that well, but they are treated fairly inside of the workplace, and sometimes the benefits offset the compensation as moolah, is what I'm saying. It varies, of course, significantly from organization to organization. So there you go. Some stuff to think about for sure. Anyways, in talking a little bit about everything, it might be time to bring in some John Smalls and let him tell us exactly what the hell is going on with the market beat.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Tuesday, November 29th, 2022. Equity markets pulled back Monday as geopolitical unrest in China compounded tepid holiday retail spending. The news from China is that protesters are unhappy with COVID-19 lockdowns and the unrest is spreading. The news will be felt hardest by those whose businesses are dependent on China, such as tech industry and manufacturing, and may cause another supply chain disruption. The takeaway for investors today is that another reason to expect weak earnings in Q4 and the first half of 2022 has emerged, and it will weigh on the index moving forward. Traders are also bracing for another round of key economic data. This week's calendar will bring the monthly NFP and other labor news, along with key reads on manufacturing, the housing market, and inflation. The PCE price index will be the big report of the week and may show a downtick in inflation to match the CPI. Even so, investors should expect another 125 to 150 basis points of interest rate hikes by late winter 2023. You can get the inside track at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, John Small, for that information right there, because it's always important what you have to share with us. Anyways, take a listen to this. This is what I was able to find on my end. The Dow lost about 497 points on Monday to close at 33,849. The S&P lost about 62 points to close at 3,963. The NASDAQ lost about 176 points to close at 11,049. West Texas Intermediate slipped to $76 a barrel, and Brent crude fell to 83. The national average price of a gallon of gas is $3.54. Bitcoin lost more than $200 on Monday, trading just at 16,200. There was 3,528 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Monday, and 91 such cancellations. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of the airwaves. So there you go. Anyways, it is Tuesday, so it is time to talk a little bit about the music chart to see what exactly is going on. So let's talk about what's going on in iTunes and going on in Spotify. Taking it from the top, let's talk about iTunes real quick. Arena Cara with Flashdance was at number 5. At number 4 was Taylor Swift with Antihero. At number 3 was Rihanna with Let Me Up. At number 2 was Meghan Trainor with Made You Look. And at the number 1 spot was Sam Smith and Kim Petras with Unholy. Taking it from the Spotify side of the house, it sounded something like this. Bobby Helms with Jingle Bell Rock was at number 5. At number 4 was Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You. At number 3 was Taylor Swift with Antihero. At number 2, Brandon Lee with Rocking Around That Christmas Tree. I didn't realize we were already that serious into Christmas music. And at the number 1 spot, according to what Spotify had to say, was Drake and 21 Savage. Rich Flex. So here's my question to you, because we talk about 2 charts. We talk about iTunes, and we definitely talk about Spotify. Which one do you have? And which one would you associate closer to the kind of music that you listen to? I'm just asking, because I will tell you, I would look at both of those charts and go, that isn't close to anything that I'm paying attention to when it comes to the world of music. That is for sure. Anyways, take a listen to this. Arizona most populous county is certifying the results of the midterm election. The Board of Supervisors in Maricopa County, home of Phoenix, and more than 60% of Arizona voters certified the results on Monday, angering some people.
Came here today to get an up-close and personal look at the 7 traitors to the United States Constitution.
Hey, again,
for
please.
Sitting at that desk.
The unanimous vote came at the end of a 4-hour meeting, marked a conspiracy allegation, outbursts, and threats. About 36 people expressed discontent and doubt about the country's election system. Speakers blasted supervisors with claims of a rigged election and asked for the board to refuse to certify the election results. A number of upset voters were on hands yesterday certifying at the certification meeting. Take a listen.
The way that you guys can just sit there, it's disgusting. Watching you pledge allegiance to my flag was disgusting. The way that you sold us out. This is vote trafficking at its finest. I've seen the criminal element.
Speakers were given the opportunity to address the Board of Supervisors in Maricopa County on Monday.
This whole thing was a sham. You're violating the Constitution. You're violating our rights by saying you can only petition the government for 2 minutes. Where's your authority to do that? Who died, made you king?
So there you go. Some interesting times in Maricopa County, it sounds like. Okay, should I do this? Let's do it. Let's do it just for the sake of doing it. Here's some information from Mark Mayfield. Take a listen to some politics.
Biden wants Congress to prevent a nationwide rail strike. In a White House letter released Monday night, Biden says he wants Congress to pass legislation that would ratify a previous tentative agreement between rail workers and operators. The Biden administration has warned a nationwide strike could cripple our economy. The White House says President Biden will keep fighting to ban assault weapons following recent mass shootings.
There were families this past Thanksgiving holiday who looked around their table and there were missing members of their family because of this gun violence.
During a briefing, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said the president believes it's important to keep the gun issue on the minds of Americans. Biden recently said he was going to try and get rid of assault weapons during the lame duck session, despite an uphill battle to secure 10 Republican votes in the Senate. And Donald McEachin, a Virginia congressman, is dead at the age of 61 after a battle with colorectal cancer. McEachin's office made that announcement on Monday. The Democrat was first elected to the state's 4th district in 2016 and re-elected for a 4th term earlier this month. That's politics. Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
Okay, there you go. Thank you for the information right there, Mark. So let's talk about this real quick. Giving Tuesday is here, a global movement to raise money and awareness for humanitarian projects. Deb Barnes is the founder of Every Woman Can, which rallies around women through breast cancer. She also is a consultant to nonprofits and businesses around the world.
Organizations are the gateway of change. I think of Giving Tuesday as an invitation for each of us to recognize that we are the heart of our communities, and our dollars help shape how our world looks.
Okay, Giving Tuesday is in its 10th year. When it launched back in 2012. Founders hoped that would make giving a more central part of daily life. Giving Tuesday blossomed on the New York's Belfer Center for Innovation and Social Impact, which is also now an independent nonprofit that helps generate support for world nonprofits. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on right there as we are talking. So think about that as we are moving and grooving. Anyways, it is currently 32 minutes past the top of the hour, so I think it is close enough to do the thing that we're supposed to do at this particular portion in time.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so we are hanging out on Tuesday, and I keep on looking, and that Christmas holiday is just inching and getting closer and closer and closer and closer to what we're going to be doing here. And I can't get to this portion of the year, and I started going, how heavy do we want to get into some of the stuff that we have going on, and how heavy do we want to do the things that we have going on? So here's what I'm starting to think about. I'm starting to think about, is it that time of the year yet that we really, really start concentrating on meeting people where they're at? And listen, I know that we kind of sit around and we joke and we poke at the bear, we make fun, and we jump around, we look at these things and go, this is interesting. Well, I look at this and I go, if we start meeting people where they're at, opposed to having some grand expectation on that they should be at whatever aspect of safety you're looking for, maybe that would change things for you. Because here's the thing, I will tell you, when I first started getting associated with certain organizations and certain groups out there, there was a level of expectancy that when you walked in, that you should know, X, Y, and Z. And listen, there wasn't there was a list of requirements of, hey, you need to know this and some reading material and all that kind of fun stuff. But I think that sometimes in some of our work aspects, we have this grand expectation of you should know better than to do that. You should know better of not doing or to do and blah, 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 blah. And let's be realistic. That is not fair. And am I the fair judge? Am I the fair, the person to talk about fairness? Probably not. But I think that we have these unrealistic expectations when it comes to our people on knowing certain things. So what if you had that gentle approach today? What if you had that approach where you went, I know things are not going the way that I would expect them to, but this is what we can do to get them to change. And I know that there is some humbling that needs to take place when you try to look at things in that method, opposed to it being, well, what I said should go because I am the safety person. I am the person who is in charge of everything that goes on, because that's just silly. That's not how this works. And I will tell you, if you want to give the analogy of professional sports, maybe we could use that here, even though I am not a huge fan of professional sports. Have you ever seen a coach make a play on a field? Have you ever seen them mess up a play on the field? Now, in theory, you can sit there and go, yes, he's told them or she told them to do this, that, and this. Well, you don't really know what they did say. But they've never scored a touchdown. They've never made a point. They've never done anything. They have ideas. Some of them work, some of them don't. And essentially, as you do the work that you do, in most aspects, that's exactly what you are. You're a coach. You have never been successful when it comes to certain things. You have never failed when it comes to certain things. And think about that from an aspect. You might have a track record that some of your ideas have been extremely great, but there is no proof that your ideas have worked out. And some people get extremely pissed off when I say that, but it's the truth. If you save a company $1 million, let's just use that as an example, how do you prove it by saving them from an accident? There's no way. There's just no way. Now, that's where all these people come up with these reports of, oh, well, I have these indicators that our trends and our tracks and everything changed because this idea and this concept. Prove it. Prove it the money that you save. Prove it that the lives that you save. Reduction does not mean anything. Think about it. Because, some people will argue about frequency and all this other stuff. Listen, I had no injuries inside of this warehouse that I actually worked at when it closed down. But I wonder why. Well, there was nobody there. So, there's just some things that you have to think about as you're analyzing that. So, today, take the opportunity to meet someone where they're at. Start that conversation on how you would like it to move forward, because it will make things different if you allow them to. Don't go in with people should be at some level that you have expectancy for, because that's not going to be the case. Just be realistic when it comes to certain aspects, because that will be super important. Think about that, and it might take you places that you would have never thought of before. Think about it.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
These days, it can be hard to find and hire the right candidates for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs made it easier to find the people that you want to talk to faster and for free. I have to tell you, even before they ever became a sponsor here on Safety FM, we have used LinkedIn Jobs to help find the people that we have here on Safety FM. It's an easy service to use. Create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 770 million people. Focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience, and use screening questions to get your role in front of only the most qualified candidates. Then use the simple tools on LinkedIn Jobs to quickly filter and prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know that every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/safetyfm. That's linkedin.com/safetyfm to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. And don't forget to mention that Jay Allen sent you.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And, with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have any body to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Pop quiz hotshot. During a heat wave, what's more important, air conditioning or air guitar?
Is it air conditioning?
Air guitar. The answer is always air guitar.
We can rally, we can riot now without a doubt. We don't have to be 3 sheets to the wind, 3 sheets to the wind, 3 sheets to the wind. You know we gotta get away. Hey. This place is driving us insane. You know we're meant to fly away. Hey, 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 hey. Say hello to the break, just let it go. Clear your mind, feel the glow of your halo.
Okay, you are still listening to the Rated R Safety Show. Yeah, we're still coming to you from the Safety FM studios across Safety FM and Radio Bigs. Okay, this is Vominos right now by Faye V. Songs regularly available on Spotify and iTunes. Oh, let's go. Vominos. Okay, so there you go. Currently 43 minutes past the top of the hour. And we're still rocking out with our, well, no, you get it. Thanks for Faye V for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. Okay, let's get back into the move and groove of things, because I think that's going to be important as we are talking and hanging out and doing all the fun stuff that we get to do. So, how have you been? I know it's been a few minutes, but, some things to think about. And I forgot to mention earlier today about all the people that reached out to me about zero safety. Not the drive to zero, but zero safety. I don't know if I want to say that I meant to piss so many people off, but you get the point. That was the point. That was the point of the whole thing, is to really think about, what that's going to lead you to. Anyways, with that being said, let's talk about this, because this is coming up. If you're still looking for something to do next year, going to a little workshop-y action, let's do this. Let's talk about the Safety Differently workshop that's going on in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Yes, Santa Fe, New Mexico. Well, we're doing our thing over there in Santa Fe in March. If you want to find out more information, all you have to do is go to safetyfm.io. Yes, that's safetyfm.io. Or if you're watching on the screener version of this, you can just scan that QR code, and that will take you into the places that you want to be at. I think it might take you to places you want to be. So there you go. They're currently listed will be Bob Edwards, Mark Yeston, Martha Acosta, and Todd Conklin, all, doing the workshop stuff. And I will actually be there as well, as we are hanging and banging and doing all the fun stuff that we get to do, so don't worry about that. So that's what's going on over there. If you want to come and hang out with us, so you can do that. That is going on in March of 2023. So anyways, let me get to the portion right now that I need to tell you about, and that's about the most important thing that I will ever tell you about. And listen, we talk about suicide and depression all the time on this show. And if you know me personally, you know that at some point throughout us hanging out at any point in our lifetime, we're going to talk about this. And I look at it and I go, you don't really know what this looks like. Because some people always have this belief that someone who is being down and not happy and acting miserable around others is the person that will be, contemplating suicide. They will also be the person that's depressed, but you don't know what it looks like. You don't know what kind of struggles people are going through. We can have assumptions of what it looks like, but we don't know. We really don't. So this is where my friends at 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline come in. They can help you prevent suicide. The Lifeline provides 24/7 free and confidential support for people in distress, prevention, and crisis resources for you and your loved ones, and best practices for professionals in the United States. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to 988lifeline.org. That's 988lifeline.org. Or you can call 988 or text the word TALK to 988. That will get everything moving and grooving that general direction. Or if you want to, you can go over there to their website and just learn more information. How we can help prevent suicide. What is a crisis center? Stories of hope and recovery. Mental health and suicide prevention glossary. So just some stuff to think about. So if you know of someone who's struggling, or if you are struggling, go there. Find out more information. This is an important conversation. And remember, you matter. So important to talk about. Not sometimes, all the time. So there you go. Anyways, let's get into some more things that are going on right now. So let's start waiting for Christmas. Take a listen to this real quick as we enter the holiday season, or as we call it in my family, the eating season. New researchers showed that that a quarter of all of us are still carrying the weight that we gained at the end of last year. A survey of 2,000 people showed that 60% of us gained weight towards the end of 2021, probably due to the fun and food of the season. But despite the fact that 24% of us never lost a holiday weight again, we are still planning to go hardcore again this year. In fact, 4 in 10 respondents, 42%, are saying that they, at the end of the year, they have the excuse to postpone eating healthy. Conducted by one poll, the survey conducted in the U.S. found that 60% of those planning to postpone their healthy habits over the holiday have already started, admitting that mid-November is their cutoff. The average respondent expects at 5.5 pounds or 2.5 kilograms before 2023. And at the top of the weight, they are still carrying around from last year's indulgences. On the plus side, 46% planned to make their New Year's resolution. The most common one is to save more money, followed by eating healthier and exercising more, closely followed by lying less. The correct approach is to refer to it as winter weight gain. Then you don't have to worry about losing it until spring. Okay, maybe that's not really the best way to do it. But let's talk about this. Because some people will sit there and go, well, you know, I have those 4 weeks that I eat whatever I want, do whatever I want. Really, maybe it's not the 4 weeks that we should be talking about. Maybe we should be more concerned about not the 4 weeks, but what the hell you're doing the other 48 weeks of the year.
It's this show, and they just make fun of a whole bunch of people. It's just too funny. It's too stupid.
Rated R Safety Show.
Hey, it's just something to think about. That's all I'm saying there. Anyway, so let's get into it right now. Let's do this real quick. It is 51 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's go ahead and bring in some John Small and let him tell us about what is going on with the Motivation Minute.
Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Bill. Louis C.K. said, "The only time you look in your neighbor's bowl is to make sure they have enough. You don't look in your neighbor's bowl to see if you have as much as them." I love this quote. I actually had to look to see if it's the same Louis C.K. that I know. It is. He's a comedian who is known for other things, we'll say. But I love this quote. We absolutely should be looking to see if our neighbors need help. Don't compare how well you're doing to how well they're doing, but do your very best to help a neighbor in need if you're in a position to do that. You can help them in the form of actually helping them, or maybe giving them financial help, or maybe just spending time with somebody who might be alone. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by AlessaMorgan.com. In addition to all the benefits exercise offers, it is also a powerful probiotic. Aerobic exercise may be one of the most effective ways to promote gut health and help heal intestinal issues. Aerobic exercise increases butyrate-producing gut bacteria independent of diet. This reduces inflammation and promotes intestinal healing. People who engaged in 30 to 60 minutes of moderate to vigorous aerobic exercise on a stationary bike or treadmill 3 times a week for 6 weeks massively increased the quantity of butyrate-producing bacteria in their guts, independent of what they ate. Butyrate-producing gut bacteria are some of the most beneficial bacteria in the gut because butyrate provides more than 70% of all energy for intestinal cells and therefore intestinal healing. For more information on wellness, check out AlessaMorgan.com.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Okay, here we go. 53 minutes past the top of the hour, meaning that we're going tick-tock, tick-tock, and running out of time. So anyways, at the top of the hour, I will be going over to RadioBig.fm. If you want to come and hang out and take a listen to what the hell we have going on over there, that will be some fun times that we'll be doing some stuff over there, so you can come and hang out. That way we can do the things together. Let's take a look. What else do we have going on over here? Take a listen to this. Maybe this is a good one to talk about. The U.S. is threatening legal action against Mexico's plan to ban imports of genetically modified corn. Trey Thomas has more info.
Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack said Monday that the ban on GMO corn, scheduled to hit in 2024, would cause huge economic losses and significantly impact trade between the two countries. In a statement following a meeting with Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador, Vilsack said, "We must find a way forward soon." A Mexican agriculture official said last month the planned ban would cut Mexico's import of yellow corn from the U.S. in half. I'm Trey Thomas.
Okay, thank you, Trey Thomas, for that information right there. Take a listen to this. Facebook's parent company is being hit with more than $250 million fine in Europe. Brian Shook has more info.
Ireland's Data Protection Commission fined Meta $275 million over a data leak. It was discovered last year and led to more than 500 million users having their personal information posted online. It's unknown if Meta will appeal. I'm Brian Shook.
Okay, thank you, Brian, for the information right there as you are letting us know what exactly is going on inside of this world of ours. Always important. Anyways, no winner for Friday night's Mega Million drawing. Tonight's drawing will be for $305 million jackpot or $158.2 million cash payout. So there you go. Some stuff going on over there if you want to take a look-see at what is going on. Anyways, taking a look real quick, if you want to talk about some things that happened back on this date, let's take a look around. Let's do this. Back in 2019, a thumb-sized wood fragment believed to be from Jesus' manger is returned to Bethlehem. A procession and mass were held in Jerusalem to mark the return, which was described as a gift from the Pope Francis of the Franciscan Order of Monks in Bethlehem. After a day of celebration, the piece was transferred from Jerusalem to Bethlehem, where it would permanently just be displayed at the St. Catherine's Church. So there you go. That happened back in 2019. If you're looking at some birthdays for today, Laura Morano turns 27, David Lambert turns 29, Stephen Diggs 29, Russell Wilson turns 34, The Game, yes, the rapper, turns 43 today, Lauren German turns 44, Anna Faris 46, Ryan Giggs turns 49, Don Cheadle turns 58, Howie Mandel 67, and Jerry Lawler, yes, professional wrestler, the King Jerry Lawler, that is, turned 73 today, just in case, if you are looking around. If you're looking at a reason to celebrate today, well, I have some of those for you as well. It's National Chocolates Day, hey now, National Square Dancing Day, National Day of Giving, Throw Out Your Leftovers Day. Yeah, we're probably at that point already. We should probably do that. Electric Greeting Day, and National Lemon Cream Pie Day. So are you a big cream pie fan? I mean, I guess it really depends on what you like. And do you like the lemon cream pie in particular? I mean, it's just some stuff to think about as we are talking. So there you go. A lot of stuff. Let's take a look real quick at some other stuff before we get you out of here. Let's talk about real quick about some whack facts, because I think that's going to be important for us to talk about. People who look younger for their age tend to live longer. Well, good idea there. Google got its name from the word Google, which refers to the number 1 with 100 zeros after it. The average person unlocks his or her smartphone about 110 times each day. Cats adapted to living with humans by hunting rodents in grain stores and basically domesticated themselves. Watching horror movies burns more calories than any other genre. And Walt Disney autograph bears no resemblance to their famous Disney logo. So there you go. Some stuff right there, as you are thinking. Real quick, if you need a random joke for today, here's one. I have the L-shaped couch, lowercase. If you need something for a phone starter for today, try this. What weird trends did you follow when you were younger? If you need a question for the water cooler, try this one. Question: 45% of us agree that this has been the most stressful event in their life. What is it? Moving. I would call it COVID. I don't know if I would call it moving. Anyway, so that's some stuff to think about. Anyways, you have been listening to the Rated R Safety Show here on Safety FM and Radio Big. Thank you for taking a listen, because without you, it doesn't make sense to do this. We couldn't do what we do around here without the most important part, and that is you, the listener. That is for sure. Thank you for coming out and hanging out. If you want to go over with me at the top of the hour to Radio Big, you're more than welcome to do that. We're going to be playing the newest Metallica song. So go ahead, come over, take a listen with us. We'll have some more discussions as well as we're doing that. If I can leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. If you aren't in over your head, how do you know how tall you are? Think about that. That's something to think about. Anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.